is active now?
A little better, yes.
So I might mention that to September once more. Because I know sometimes people can get a little uncomfortable with some of the connotations. And then also on the breathing, yeah, make yourself comfortable. We're not here to fall asleep today, but if you do, I won't fault you. Come on in, you're welcome to remove your shoes. If you have back issues, I welcome you to take a chair so that you can keep upright, but do remove your shoes because they make you feel, it just makes you feel better, right? And you can lie down on a yoga mat if you need extra bolsters, please feel free. And when Professor Jeremy is here, is he hidden somewhere? He's at the door, okay. When he comes, I'll start. And I'll probably mention it again. But when we do, we'll do a little bit of breath. If you have asthma or any sort of challenges with breathing, just observe and don't do the breathing with us. And if you feel faint, but it'll be very light breathing. Actually do breath work as well for folks. We're not going to really focus too much on that, but just a little bit at the front end to get us going. So while we're waiting, some of our background music that will kind of go out. This was done by Sam Nestor. This is not part of my presentation. I'm just sort of filled this piece. But Sam Nestor worked as an artist in residence with the Genomics Lab. And he actually took the human genome, which is super fractals focused, right? The double helices, DNA, fractals, that's what you're studying. And he took that and he assigned a note to each of the sequence letters. And then it's called transposon because he basically transferred those letters into a composition that represents the human genome. And this is it. I'm going to play a sound bite, but it might go on and off because again, not very technically savvy. But he did a composing piece for Expanse, which is a quantum physics conference that happened for the first time in Abu Dhabi. And it's pretty amazing. So I'll have that a little bit in the background. Professor Jeremy, are we all good to go? Should I start?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, we're
Thanks.
good. So I just want to say I'm really thankful, first of all, to Professor Teo for believing in me and giving this space. You know, a lot of people think that wellness is woo-woo, and today I'm here to talk a little bit about the science that I've learned along my woo-woo path. But I think Professor Teo, does everyone call you Professor Jeremy?
They just go by first name basis.
Okay, so just Jeremy.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I complimented him on his flow. Come on in. You're welcome to remove your shoes. Sit in the modulus. Sit on the chair, but remove your shoes because it makes you feel more flowy. I also thank the NYUAD team who came together. The setting couldn't be more beautiful, in my opinion, and that's not because of the team, it's because of all the teams and all the fractals of NYUAD coming together to make this space come together and sort of this new dynamic for you today. So I was really impressed with the presentations I heard as well last week. My presentations visually will not be as beautiful. We should never put ourselves down, by the way. That's one lesson but I also like a little bit of humility. So I'm going to put on the Expanse one. This is what he did for Expanse. So, sound. This sound, why not? There we go. So just a quick introduction. I know you briefly saw me, and Jeremy was kind enough to send out a little note. I actually work at NYU Abu Dhabi. I've been here for 15 years. And 5 years ago, I had my little girl, my beautiful little Lucia, who's right there. And I started looking at healthy ways for our household, getting rid of plastics, really delving into these rabbit holes of information. And some of them I was really disappointed. There's a lot of snake oil out there in the wellness and health field. And I go to the Health Optimization Conference by Tim Gray in London. And if you look at my Instagram feed, I've got biohacking, wellness, and then eventually all of this information as I was really seeking to make myself healthier and our family and health of our household more strong and better. One thing, and our algorithms lead us in paths, it's like a fractal of life, right? So I took a course in Dubai on holistic health. There were several modalities, like art as a form of healthy expression, which a lot of times I pair with this. But I found sound to be something that is extremely evidence-based and quite extraordinary. And Jorge is one of my partners in crime today as well, which we'll mention in a second. But today what I want to do is take you through an experiential sense of the fractals you're studying and connecting that to sound. And the more I delved into sort of laying out the structure, I was pretty amazed what I came up with, what we came up with basically. And so we're going to have a little bit of well-being during our learning today. So I want you to now, your favorite part, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to put your one hand on the belly, the other hand on your chest. And we're going to take 3 breaths. And I want us to inhale at a count of 5. And just to note, when we inhale, we want our belly to rise. And when we exhale out of our mouth, we want our belly to fall. So on a count of 5, inhale through the nose, belly rise. 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Just kind of relax. I said to a few of you, I should have made the caveat and disclaimer. If you have any asthma issues, this one isn't too tough, but if you feel funny about it, just observe. Just observe and don't participate. I want you to take that in. Come on in. You can throw your shoes off and find a comfy spot. Go ahead and put your hand on your stomach again so you can feel that rise. And put your other hand on your heart, on your chest. And again, in for 5. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Inhale. Okay, now come back to the room. You felt your shoulders maybe shift down. You all feel a little bit more relaxed? Like maybe sleeping? Yeah, you feel that shift? Do you know what that is? It's the little almond-shaped part of our brain called the amygdala. And so when we were cave people and lions were coming after us, the amygdala would be like, ah, lion. And so what our bodies would do in response to that is spike our adrenaline, spike our cortisol, so what we could do, run and stay alive, right? But now I get an email, or today I had a traffic incident, and the same thing happens. The amygdala is like a lion is chasing you, and it's chronic in the life we lead and the life we live. And so what you have to do is constantly remind yourself, I'm okay. And you can do that through your own words, through your own, which are sound, by the way. And you can do that through breath work, and you'll see it's all connected in fractals. It's pretty spectacular. And so what we've done is if you're stressed right now, and we just did that simple breath work. And that trigger switch then stops the adrenaline flow. It stops the cortisol flow, and it actually starts to send you a little bit of oxytocin. Rest, relax. So you go from sympathetic, which is fight or flight, to parasympathetic, which is rest and digest and rebuild, right? And so looking at the fractals of this, we have our lungs, and we saw the beautiful presentation of the tree and the flowers. And so what does that look like? A tree, right? And you've got the fractals upon the fractals, and our lungs are extraordinary. So fractals are efficiency, and fractals by design allow our bodies, no matter what our size, to fit a tennis court inside of surface area. And that allows us to clean our blood, to clean our air. It's just extraordinary. So as you delve into the rest of your semester, think about it. It affects, like, you basically just breathed in fractals from the sound, and then in the entire process of how it enters the body and exits the body. And now we go into something called respiratory sinus arrhythmia. And was it? I'm forgetting her name, Layla. The one who gave me. I'm forgetting her name. Layla. You brought up the conch shell and the video about the Fibonacci, like, you know, it's overused. I think maybe that can be true, right? But shifting the narrative, it's not perfect all the time, but it's set out as a guide for the universe. It's set up design. And the fact that, for example, our breath is not a metronome. Tick, tock, tick, tock. Like our heart is not a metronome. If it were, we would be in dis-ease or have some sort of disease. Notice that word dis-ease means something's off in your body, right? And so respiratory sinus arrhythmia is what is measured by the breath being able to fluctuate. And in life, that fluctuation is so important. If something's rigid, it isn't healthy. So having the fractals and the waves within the waves and the ability to move and flow with our breath, with our circulation and with life, is actually part of the Fibonacci design, part of the fractal design. So it doesn't have to be this perfect shell. Jorge might tell us something later, because I know he made a shell. And then what I want to talk about, which is so cool, I didn't do it 6 times because in case anyone had some health concerns. But if you take that breath in for 5 and out for 5, 6 times, that's 1 minute, that's 6 breaths a minute, that's sort of a magical formula to connect your gut, your lungs, and your brain. It also does a reset because it sends us into cardiovascular coherence, which sounds beautiful, right? But that helps reset our entire system, connecting the vagus nerve, which really responds a lot to vibrations as well. You've heard about the cold plunge, and there's a lot to be discovered about the vagus nerve. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So okay. And also, I will go into this a little bit, and I'm laughing because I'm about to breathe, talking about our respiratory. There are lots of instruments we can use in this sound, right? And sound is our ability to hear math. Some of you, I don't know what all your majors are, maybe there's scientists, engineers, mathematicians. I am not that great at math. I wish I were. I am a lover of math. I think it's fascinating. I think it layers everything of our entire world. But anyhow, this can either sound, so you just give me a little time, you can laugh, because laughter is also very healthy for you. But this can sound like gassy pants, or it can sound like a conch shell. It might be a little combination, so bear with me. Actually, I got it in Nepal, which doesn't have a sea next to it, so go figure. But I got it from a Ghana master. And maybe I also do the sound experiences for children, so thinking about our lungs. What else? We use our lungs for communication, which we'll talk about the throat, but just a few other fun sounds for you. The owl. This one's always the kids' favorite. The elephant. Again, nature and sound, right? So let me go ahead and move ahead. And now this is why we're here, somatics, right? And this is actually sound made visible. And if you just watch this, you can see that frequency is increasing. And as we increase frequency, the frequency nodes increase. It's going back to math, right? And then you actually start to see some of this sacred geometry unfold. And we'll be going to Jorge's lab we'll be making another little journey today to his lab to see this unfold a little bit more. But between now and then, I'm just going to take a moment, because this is also, see, I do this for my daughter's school. We call them sound adventures. And so I'm going to just fill a bowl with some water. Now the cool thing, a lot of things, like you saw the lungs mirror the tree. Well, our body mirrors a lot of the universe. There's a nice sound of the bodies contain 70% water. So as I'm up here, just get it going. You can literally see the vibrations of this bowl. I'll come around to everyone. And then it starts to bubble, which the kids love. And we can all do this together. I don't know if this is allowed or he's allowed. Yeah. And so imagine the sound we play today, or if you're encompassing yourself with various music that your body responds to. This is what it's dancing with our cells, right? So again, the science. It's not woo. You can basically see the somatics. Let's see if I can get this group here. And we've all thrown a rock in the pond before, but just to see that this vibration, we are just that. Our neurons, our networks, our fractals, we're all vibrations. What we say, what we think. And so this is one way that you can see it in action. Resonance and how calming that is. Because what it's doing inside that bowl, it's doing to our bodies as well. I think I have it later, but while I'm going around, we are 40 to 50 trillion cells throughout our body. And as we look at our cardiovascular, when we're in the heart section of my presentation for our journey, our capillaries, which British people call capillaries, I think. I'm American, so we call them capillaries. But they span, if you line them up, they would actually fit across the earth, around the earth twice. That's incredible. And those capillaries feed all of our trillion cells. So think about your 40 to 50 trillion cells being excited as we go in and hear some of the instruments that will have a little bit more of a profound effect. And now you're not going to be changed overnight or in a minute. A lot of times, the gong master I trained with said you need about 45 minutes of the gong before some cellular changes are made. And actually, Jeremy and I started looking at changes in the cell. And we could see some cell movement. We actually time-lapse cells, and I hit my gong for 15 minutes and hit different instruments. So it's really fun. Just play around. I hope everyone saw this. So another component of sound is resonance. And I'll bring these around later, but I just want to point this out. And I saw Arlie Petters, our provost today. He gave me a task, and then I gave him a task back. And I said, that's an example of resonance. One action has a like-minded action, and he started laughing. So these get activated because I hit one side, and you can kind of see it vibrating. And you'll hear it, I'll bring it when we're talking about our throat. They actually sound like bees. Okay. Boy, I think I need a workout. I'm like out of breath out here. And the other thing, this is a little bit of a kaleidoscope of, but lots of information. I wanted to touch on, and things that I certainly haven't memorized in my trajectory of my knowledge, but things I know about. So when we talk about frequencies, there's different frequencies, right? So we have the frequency of these measured by sound. And let me back up just a second, actually. Let's go to color your life, rainbows. Rainbows are a beautiful, beautiful representation, and my daughter's favorite thing to draw along with unicorns. But they are a beautiful representation of fractals. You have your light wave, the wavelength, and you have it's white light, and it's then fractals upon fractals that are infinitely being exposed as a rainbow. And so now you have a lot of intertwining between the wavelengths of light and sound and how they relate together. And so scientists have actually mapped color into different frequencies, so in different energies. And so white noise is like crinkling. If this was going off the static, it's not something very pleasant. Most people don't like white noise. Pink noise is higher, lower frequencies, yeah, and higher energy, and we'll experience some of that today with the tongue drum and our hum. We're going to do a group hum. And brown noise, you can see, will be the lower energy, the lower hertz, and that's the gong. Now, taking all of these sort of categories of frequencies and the instruments, and so there's ways in which all of the sound actually instigate different type of frequency in your brain. And those frequencies are your gamma state, where you're super alert. If you're not, I'll do the school mark. Right? This would be something to wake you up and put you into gamma. I'll just let that ring a little bit. And then as its resonance fades out, it goes into a different part of frequency that would instigate or solicit a different body response. And so then you have beta, which is probably what you are normally at in class, unless it's like exam. Or maybe when you're watching Netflix to relax, you might be really into it. And then you have, or you might be in alpha, right? And once you go into alpha, you're a little bit more calm, and our breath work can take us into alpha and below. So you don't make good decisions when you are too stressed. So you want yourself to be in a calm state when you're working on your homework, when you're preparing a presentation. And let's just see what other, oh yeah, and then the woo-woo part of this. These are, all the other components are scientifically backed. They're scientific language, right? And sorry, I didn't finish. Alpha, theta is sort of if you were laying here in a little bit of sleep. And then delta is like probably when my husband's snoring, right? But delta is like deep. If you've ever done yoga nidra, like an adult nap, sometimes delta, you are so deep, but you can be present at the same time. And it's an extremely restorative state. And then the woo-woo part is they believe, the woo-woo community, the wellness community, that, and I think we're at the very front end of all of this studying as we try to optimize our lives and optimize health. But they believe that all emotions actually have frequencies. So the low, like when you feel sad and mad, you feel a little heavy, right? And then your frequency, and you're a little bit more upbeat when you're happy. And so I think there's something to it, but I don't have any scientific papers to back that up. But maybe in 5 years I will. Okay, let's go back to some music. What do you say? Any questions between then and now? No, everyone's calm, cool. back to fractals and fractals, right? We've got fractals of the visual components of our body, and then we have the fractals of the sound. So what I'm going to do is go from our gut on up, using different instruments that help rest and digest those components. And so I see some students in theta, gamma. And so I just want you to close your eyes if they're not already closed. And we're just going to feel the beautiful sound of the gong, right? And it can go up to about 200 hertz. So I'm going to start light, and then I'm going to work a little stronger. And I'm just going to start and talk a little bit. So our gut is also fractal layering. And you have 200 square meters of space to clean your body, which is so amazing. So just listen. You're welcome to keep your eyes closed if you want, as we talk about the heart. This is the tongue drum I'm now playing. And a lot of times, music can regulate our heartbeat. And again, the fractals of sound, helping to regulate Fibonacci numbers playing out. Think of a piano with the 13 keys, 5 white and 3 black. And they're set out in that sequence as well, of 3, 2, 3, 2. Talking about our heartbeat and things that help our cardiovascular. So the drum, even a soft resonant drum like this, the tone drum. Our heart is absolutely extraordinary. It pumps 2,000 gallons a day through our body with 60,000 or 100,000 beats. You know, we have another heart in our body. It's our ankles. So if you have the opportunity right now, I want you to do a little ankle pump, because the way in which your heart is pumping through your whole body, you can pump right back up to your heart as you're doing little ankle pumps. So think about that heart system of the capillaries. Sorry about that. The first time I heard a British person say capillaries. Again, I talked about this earlier, the capillaries that can wrap around the earth twice. That's what exists in your body. That's extraordinary. And so what happens when you have the heart pumping in your cardiovascular system, which is extremely fractal, then you have these capillaries which are having oxygen and nutrient exchange. And the premise of sound is that this actually opens your body up to do it more efficiently, and breath. And so if you're able to get more nutrients and more oxygen to those 20 to 40 trillion cells across your body, then why not? It's the right way to go. I know that's very soothing, and you're probably sleeping now. I'll try to wake you up. So yeah, I mean, I titled this, Have a Heart. Take good care of your heart. Your heart also feels emotions, right? Everything's interconnected. Everything. And as we run through this, you see the fractals and the layers of fractals. And the sound and the weaving of that sound through your body. Even the fact, as I've mentioned, that the sound can solicit your brain to respond in different ways. For me, the more I delve into this, the more extraordinary and the more rabbit holes I find of information. And so, I know you're all really well rested because maybe you had a little nap. I hope so. I'm sure that you enjoyed if you did, because if you did that, you needed it. But now, I need you to probably sit up a little bit. We're going to hum together. Okay, this is my favorite thing. I usually do it at the end, but it might be good. Now, humming is our natural way to vibrate our body, right? Like, you don't need a fancy gong. You don't need a fancy bowl. You don't need to go to sound sessions to vibrate. You can do this yourself. I read this great book called The Humming Effect. And a lot of it's anecdotal. But look, what is science? It's anecdote plus anecdote plus anecdote. And pretty soon you form facts, right? Evidence-based, peer-reviewed research. So it starts with anecdotes, and it starts with people believing in it. So, okay, take a deep breath, and you can close your eyes, because I don't know why, but humming seems to be embarrassing. Even I have adults in a sound class tonight, and they don't like to hum in public, but we're going to do that, okay? Breath in, because you might need it, and beautiful, I love it. Okay, let's do it again, and I want you to do something funny after you start. I want you to plug your nose. Okay, ready? happens throughout your whole body. Guess what else happens in your nose? Anyone know? It's such a cool fact, so I'm arming you with at least one cool fact. It is sending nitric oxide into your nasal passages. It sounds dangerous, but actually it's really beneficial. It's a vasodilator, which means it helps enlargen. It's not like your nose will look enlarging, but inside it helps you breathe better. So when you're sick, hum every day. If you're stressed, hum, because it also resonates through your whole body and resets. I know some people may do yoga, and the om, you can feel that in your mouth, but you don't need to say om to do that. You can do anything. So I'm going to have us do a little bit more humming, unless you feel dizzy, because they say you should, the guys who wrote the book, that you should hum 5 minutes a day. I've tried it, it's hard, I don't do it. Does anyone know zippity-doo-dah? No, you're going to learn it today. You know zippity-doo-dah, right? I think that's it.
Me.
I probably need a copyright payment for this, but we're going to do it again. So zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay, my oh my, what a wonderful day. Okay, let's do it humming. So now you know that you can hum to enlarge in your nose. You know that you can hum to send vibrations through your body to any song that you know and love that you might not know the lyrics for, right? Humming is a good alternative. And I now want you to close your eyes and just do one more last hum for me today, or in this class, to send it to a place of your body that might be feeling some pain. And you can even touch it with your hand to remember, okay? Breathing in and hum. Visually send it there. Touch that spot. And then breathe out. Just sort of let it go. You can do that for yourself, and later you can touch that spot, and sometimes your brain, the woo-woo people say, that signifies to your brain to remember to send it. Remember, send our body when there's trouble will help fight viruses, and potentially the same is true. Also, I would almost want to challenge the idea that you had presented at the end of the class, but I have to read the research that when we watch a visual walk through the forest, I feel like we still get benefits. Our mind, I'll tell you a funny story, I thought of it today. I was in B2 with my car, basement 2 here at Emily, and they had a fire drill. And I thought it was real. And I thought, I'm never going to see my daughter again. And I'm panicked and trying to gut it out, I needed to breathe at that moment. And they locked all the barriers. I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And I started to smell the smoke. I literally smelled the smoke. I called Norca, who's one of our amazing security leads here. And she's like, baby, no, that's just a test. I'm like, but I smell smoke. There was no smoke. My brain played tricks on me. And I think the same thing, even if we don't have access to forest, I think there are ways in which we can access that, at least for our neural network. And those things are just at the beginning. Okay, we're at 1:30. What time should we walk over to your lab? It's okay? Okay, this is what else I want to do. So, part of this humming, I love bees. Bees are the best. I know they sting, but they also make us honey. And they pollinate flowers. And our world, they shouldn't call it the butterfly effect. I think they should call it the bee effect. Because without bees, we are in big trouble, right? And some of the colonies are starting to collapse now. And they actually, anecdotally, no science review paper, but there's a woman in California who actually uses healthy bee-making vibrations and reconstitutes that, and it helps the colony grow healthy again. And so you see some of these things happening. You see scientists starting to take the sounds of bees and using it for therapies, like tinnitus, which is what you can get. It's a terrible thing that you can get, a ringing of the ear. So I'm just going to go around the room and to hear the tuning fork. And as I go around, the tuning fork is really special. I can run this down your spine, your vagus nerve. And it's just amazing. You can't hear anything until I come to you, but then you can feel how powerful. Doctors actually use this to test if you have atrophy of a joint or muscle. And my daughter, maybe I have her tricked, but she won't take medicine when she has an earache. We run this on her. And these, my other crystal fell off when you heard that bang, but these have crystals on the bottom. And whether or not you believe in the crystal capacity, I like it because it's a smooth edge, so you can nicely put it in the nodules of the spine, and you can feel that vibration. But yeah, they sound like bees to me. And if you're really into this, there is something called Gaia. Again, woo-woo, not scientific, but they do have multiple anecdotal stories about people who heal themselves. Again, it's not about healers. Through sound and through other modalities of health and wellness. I've never done this with such a large group in terms of... Actually, I've done a sound session for my daughter's school. There were 200 people there, but I didn't go individually to all of their ears. I think it's important for this class to feel. I should probably do it to the... So you can almost hear it on my... Okay, who did I get to here? Sorry. I did see my brain is in... But yeah, you can use this, like if you do sound like I do, and like for my dad, I do this, I put it, he actually stole my tuning forks, and he's a cowboy who lives in Utah. So imagine him with this cowboy hat and his cowboy ideas, and he's sitting on his little recliner with the tuning fork on his pineal gland. It's pretty powerful, right? So there's one lady on Gaia who uses these, and she actually can run them over people's body, and without being told, she knows where the issue is. She knows where the lack of resonance is, meaning there's something wrong. And she has fixed people. It's like a form of therapy. Again, because we're neurons, we're cells, we're 70% water. You saw what those little vibrations did to the water, right? You feel it, right? So our little bees buzzing, and this is great to put on joints that have some aches. So again, it's all fractals in the end. That's 133. I'm just going to kind of be a little bit more quick if it's okay, because I know the class is only until 2, right? And we have to walk over to Jorge's lab. So I couldn't figure out how to go in and pineal gland. But you know what? Pineal gland is so much better because we are glad we have a pineal. And I know that's a funny word. People call it the third eye. But the pineal gland is so important. Anyone knows what it does for us?
Melatonin.
What is it?
Produces melatonin.
Exactly. It's basically our time clock. So also hormone release. It is so sensitive to light. Like in our house, I have all red lights. We have a duplex style, so the top layer is all red light, so that at night you don't get that wake window. Because once blue light hits your eyes, you're awake, right? Have you ever had that? If you look at your phone, make sure you keep it on a red light setting so it doesn't wake you up if you wake up in the middle of the night. The melatonin itself is also on a time clock. Seasons, you're traveling, you're jet lagged. So the more we figure out about this, the better we can deal with our fast-paced world in our travel, right? It's really important for all of us. Or late night studies, right? You completely mess up your melatonin clock with that. And if you need these slides, each one I've sort of mentioned what I'm going to play. This one is so cool, and I'm going to walk around a little bit with it. But first, The pineal is here, and it's really, it's part of the command center like the brain, but it's the timekeeper. And hearing beautiful frequency like this is so helpful. You hear octaves, also fibonacci and fractal math coming into play, right? And harmonics, when you have several layers of notes. This is also great for what we call the crown in the woo-woo community, also known as your brain network. And kind of pulls it all together, it sort of connects us and the outside world, as they say. And as you see, how interconnected we are, right? From the fractals we have inside of us that are mirroring the fractals that are outside in our world that we all took pictures of, I'm sure, straight out of class. So you didn't have many pictures that were taken from your mind. And in that, I mean, even like walnuts. If you eat walnuts, they look like your brain. Well, guess what? They're good for your brain. And the walnuts are fractals as well. So just, you're going to see it. After you have Jeremy's class, you're going to see it throughout your life. And just heading over, of course, the brain, tons of neurons. We have over 60,000 thoughts a day. Probably some days I have a few less, and other days I have a few more. 7 quadrillion neurons firing for us. For my little one, it's astronomical. When we're small, our neurons are constantly firing. And so now you've made your neuron networks, but you can also reshape that. Like if you have emotions that you want to reshape. Like for me, I get triggered, I get angry, and I try to turn and transform that anger into ambition, either through breath or through using my thoughts, using the sound, having a class with lovely folks like you. But this is, some people love this, and some people hate this. Separation zone. One other thing, when you feel bad, at the end of the day, go take a shower. Not because I say you need to go take a shower, but actually that helps you cleanse away any bad mood. You feel so different after a shower. Maybe it's the sound of the water. Maybe it's the fact that we're 70% water, right? And it's sort of like-minded. But it also has this feeling. Like on because we're running out of time. We're going to go. So this whole thing happened because Jeremy found Jorge and I trying to make a cladding plate, and actually wanted to. We'll talk about him in a second. But he saw us making a cladding plate. A cladding plate measures its somatics. It measures frequency, and I wanted to use it for some of my classes. And so, and I just don't want to get all the experience. So we're going to head over to his lab. We have not perfected it yet, so if anyone's interested, they can help us. It's not going to happen in the next 3 minutes, but we're going to go see what we've done, how we did it, and now you know why we did it, right? It helps us understand frequencies, fractal nodes, sacred geometry. And so with this conclusion, as I'm going around and giving the actual sound back, I want to thank you all today for your energy. I really appreciated all your enthusiasm and playing along with my game today. And then I want to just say, you know, I feel like my life is, you know, all of our lives are like the tree of life, right? Super fractal. I've had ups and downs in my life. And some of those downs I turned into ups by learning about health and wellness and biohacking. And bringing now this to my daughter, to my husband, to my home, to my friends. They come over for dinner and I do this. I did this for all the kids in my daughter's school. Well, all that plus one, that's a lot of kids. And now, actually, inspired by my daughter, Wanma was in here, but he and I are working on a startup that is focused on wellness for children using sound play. And so I'm so excited. And these are the things, this is what my call to action to you today is. You're learning about fractals, you're learning about math, but look at all of the applications, right? And so whatever your study that you feel, that ignite, happen, that passionate, it might not be Jeremy's class, it might be another class, but play with that, learn about it, be curious, and then take that into something that betters your life and potentially betters the life around you. So that's it for today. Thank you. We're gonna, not it for today, it for me. Sorry, I spent a little bit longer. And I didn't leave you. I can do this while we're looking at the lab. Take a few things we didn't get to, but thank you. Thank you. I don't know if we don't have time for questions. You're smart cookies, right? Thank you. Thank you all.
So we'll all go to Jorge's lab to look at this sound plate that they have been building. And then you guys will get dismissed from there, so bring all your stuff.
Including your shoes.